call this meeting to order. Yeah, it is. You kind of slide in, right? Call this meeting to order at 7:30 p.m. of the Grafton Public Library Policy Subcommittee. And this meeting is being adopted as a hybrid meeting so that remote participants may join. So the first item on the agenda is the approval of minutes from February 8th, 2023. I have a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
All right, motion and second. Any discussion? Has everybody had a chance to look through the minutes? Yeah. These are the ones from February 8th because we didn't have an opportunity to meet in March. So this is really the March meeting. Okay. Not hearing none, I will take a vote to approve the minutes. Aaron, aye.
John, aye.
Beth, aye. Debbie, aye.
The motion carried. The next item on the agenda is our ongoing business. The first is the draft art policy. Do we have that from legal?
Yeah, so I sent it out with both her changes and the original document. And John, did you go through it and do track changes or mention summed up what you thought the changes were? Like somebody looked at it and went, oh, here's what's different. But as I see now there's track changes. So
I didn't do the track changes thing. So I don't have Word, but
so when I originally opened it, I couldn't see any track changes, but now I've reopened the document and I can see that there are things that are changed. So we can actually see how she changed the language.
I think I did send an email about,
Yeah.
about the changes.
Are you sharing that? Yeah.
Let me see. Thanks.
Well, this meeting is a little different than we used to. So I'm trying to find my copy of that. Do you recall when it was sent?
So I did send it out again today, just last minute for people who were at 6 o'clock. We're going, oh, we have meeting tonight. We should check what we're supposed to.
So the same update I saw in the grant packet. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
2 seconds.
I think I have a rough summary of what changed, but this was, we should probably still go through it line by line, but it was paragraph 1 were changes to language about equity. 1E had language about points of view. 1G had grammar. 6 had some fees wording change, and then 7 had change about like using the logo, address, and name of the library. Those are the things I had found manually comparing.
And really, she didn't add in anything new. It was really just making it more legalese or putting the more important piece of information at the front of the sentence instead of the end.
Yes. They weren't really commenting on whether, it's a good policy in terms of the art display. That's not what we're asking to do.
Right.
Do we feel that there's anything we want to change since we last discussed this? This has been a while. I think it was last year.
Yeah. One of the things that I was asked to investigate was, I think we have something in here somewhere about who hangs or puts up the artwork. And can, without our own custodial that I can direct to do it, then whose job does it become? So I talked with William Blake, who just suggested we put in some language that's very general about like municipal staff will be responsible for hanging the artwork, with the understanding that it will probably be custodial directed to do it, not volunteers, not the artist, not necessarily.
Is that to avoid liability of someone like
I think so. Yeah.
following?
Yeah.
Or something? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Technically, staff are not allowed to climb ladders. They're not trained.
I was reading the Stephen King book, and Fairy Tales, yeah. And one of the main characters falls off a ladder, and that's how he's introduced to this other main character. So yeah,
we don't want that.
Yeah, I was stuck on my trying to clean my gutters. I couldn't get back on the ladder. And Jackie had some cookies in the oven. She made that a priority to go back in the house to get the cookies. And she's like, imagine the house burning down.
Yeah.
I'm like hanging onto one of the pipes up there. So I like this policy with the understanding that it may not be able to run on a monthly basis. I don't think the expectation should be that it's got to run like clockwork, and if the staff aren't available to do it, then we have to vilify the staff or whoever that this isn't being upheld. So if there's nobody to change out the artwork, that particular month, I think there needs to be something and some understanding that reasonable accommodation will be made to, abide by the policy every month. And so as long as we don't say that we're going to change out the art on a monthly basis, I don't like words like monthly or daily or weekly, because then people can hold you to it. So I like, regular words like regular changes to artwork displays. So anything with time frames, I think we should tend to try to remove.
We can also add like as time and staffing permits. Because it not only requires custodial or somebody from municipal center, essentially, it also says staff member must be available during the setup and breakdown.
Yeah.
So, and I guess we also need to coordinate that with the exhibitor to collect their drop off or collect their artwork as well.
There's also, I think not alluded to in the policy, is the staff time and energy and effort to correspond with people who are interested, to give them, the link, either a link to the form or a paper form to fill out, to review the policy with them, to do that schedule. So there's a little bit about vetting in here too. So.
It may take a while to get it up and running to the capacity you'd like. And that's just going to come with time and training and just getting used to something that's new. I almost kind of like the idea of an art queue, like a queuing basis. So people you may have things kind of trickle in, and then you may end up getting a long list of things, and then they'll queue up, right? And if somebody's submitting things like every other month, right, trying to get their artwork in place of other people's artwork, then I think it's up to the discretion of the people who are using the policy to or adhering to the policy, right?
With a
To,
limit.
you have one per
One
year.
per year,
Yeah. So I guess it's fine. I think it should be up to the discretion of the person who's made a reasonable request for new art coming in, like it's fresh. And
I mean, on the flip side, if there is nobody else for a given period of time, would we allow a person to exhibit again within the calendar year or however we're trying?
If we have the resources,
Right.
time, space.
All the resources.
I don't see things being rotated out on a monthly basis. I see things coming and going when not really the stars align. That's not the right kind of word. But when resources are available, when you coordinate. Okay, the week of July 3rd, we're gonna schedule some time with facilities to come in, help us take down the artwork, and coordinating it there for the artists as well. So, without having this memorized, does that kind of jive with everybody's thoughts, or you guys thinking something different? And does the policy kind of speak to that?
I think in general it does. There are those some specific things like exhibitors will be limited to one exhibit per year. Trying to look for where like the actual date, timing, language is. I feel like it may have been more specific, but oh yeah, well, section 1B, art exhibit and displays will rotate monthly.
Yeah, so I just added that to as time and staffing permit.
Zero supporting other departments.
Right.
And then I guess we don't have any accommodations for like sculptures and things like that, right? This is only hanging artwork. Okay, just wanted to make sure.
I'm just gonna say, there's that, and there's also counter in the presentation area. Not as secure.
We've just been putting things, having to do a program,
Right.
like monthly things, and display things that we hadn't said for a while.
Okay.
Boards weren't working very well, but if there was an art display, I don't see why. I think we'd be more than willing to.
Yes. As long as it fits in the.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's pretty narrow in there. They're not very deep.
Yeah, so we have size and weight of pieces might be limited by space available, not to exceed 5 by 5 feet and 25 pounds.
Yeah, so like is the 5 by 5 feet like this, or is it like this?
Good minimum space.
Okay. All right, so we would just work with the people to define the boundary. That's fine.
So on, since we moved down to 3, where we've got sizing, E is the exhibitor is responsible for installing and labeling the exhibit on the agreed upon date. Is that where it should put in? With coordination by municipal staff.
So what was you trying to say before? Is there a response coming up in the ladder?
I don't think so. I think like that you're not gonna drop it off and walk away and leave it up to us to curate your exhibit. That was mine.
Exhibitor is responsible for overseeing the installation by the municipal staff.
Overseeing those things like.
Yeah.
Now the directing, no, municipal staff. No, Beth, that's all wrong.
That gets in trouble if you don't let her.
For being on what? I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't plan.
I created artwork and then I don't. I'm not an artist, but I would probably want to be here all the time.
But I think
Putting up this stuff,
this
you know,
also applies
especially if
to,
something's fragile or.
but this applies to, you have a typewriter collection and it's poetry month, and when you do a typewriter poetry program and you want to put all your typewriters in the display case. So I think, because it's art display, art exhibit and display policies, but also about things that get displayed. Or I have a ton of like little tiny owls, ceramic and wood and jade and whatever, but I could pack up for my husband. Yeah. Little figurines that or mini pieces or whatever, you know, somebody wants to display their Lego Star Wars collection, like, they could apply to do that. And we could even have an exhibit that's running in gallery space with hung paintings or artwork and a separate display of 3D objects.
Is that in the application as far as like what space is there? Or-
I don't think it's called out actually. Well, facility, facility. A display case for all ages is jumping down to 4.
Oh, okay.
Display case for all ages is available outside the community room. Hanging display for and photographs is available in the following. And it's not, all the artwork is not installed yet. So we'll go in and get the rest of it up. And really the first exhibit that we need to have is this community quilt project that we did during COVID, where people came and got 6x6 squares and drew or painted or collaged on them, and they're stacked in my office. So, yeah. Also, the lock for the display case has disappeared.
No, it's in the drawer.
It is?
We unlocked it because there wasn't anything
Oh,
to take out of there. It should be in
Debbie
the
knows
drawer.
everything. Okay, we should lock it because there's a
Well, we
clock in
were-
it.
Yeah, it's down in the.
Okay.
drawer. At the lobby.
Well, good, then I won't order it.
Sorry, it should be in the.
Yeah, so this should say a locking district. We certainly could add the dimensions. I don't think it's 5 feet, but it might be 60 by 60. And it's got glass shelves that you can adjust. I'd be terrified to touch them, but you could adjust.
I would.
Well, we've seen another reference to. This is. That's a timeline.
Okay.
So this is. Applications and for that, so, it's on the, you know,
We'll review, yes, we can accommodate you now, or no, we can't, have to get in 3 months. I think we can respond to an email within 3 weeks. We usually have a 48-hour.
so you, oh, the three.
We're just like,
Yes.
I'm just looking at our hiring. going,
Very nice to meet you.
Oh, good. Ellie so wonderful for a while. Okay. Thank you. And we do my little thing at the beginning. We have a lot going on in this one.
I feel like I'd like a little bit more time with this one.
Yeah.
We can go to, come back with the final revision. And next meeting. And then perhaps we can agree if we wanted to go, with policy.
If we have significant changes, it would need to go back to legal. I think it also may need to go to the union to look at, because
Yeah.
anything that could include a change of working conditions. This is not in anybody's job description at present. So the question is, who would take it on and do it? So it needs to go to the union and they need to approve it before everything goes.
When you're
forward.
approving
Or so I have been told.
approving the application. Okay, I didn't know which part you
Yeah.
were.
The whole thing, like, whose job is it to meet
No,
the
we
artist
know
and
it-
stand with
yeah,
the
we're
artist?
talking about policy, right? It's
Yeah.
something that's not currently, staff's job description.
Mhm.
What would the union have to say?
I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I did.
Comments on the display policy. Right, exhibit on display policy. We want to move on to the next item. It's the food, and cooking. So I still just had my revision from February. We can pick it up before we left off. I think there was, my major concerns were, large quantities of trash produced, which I think you were adding a lot of those on kind of on the fly. Maybe I forwarded my changes. Yeah. Getting delivery, like I just kind of, I kind of floated that for feedback, and I don't know that it's a big deal if, somebody wants to be a delivery person. But,
It's not a problem till it's a problem.
yeah, that's why we write policy.
Yeah.
You know, happy to put that up for discussion. Odorous foods like, misconstrued as an odorous food, like a banana, rots pretty quick and that mistake. I think one of the things to consider is that trash around the library doesn't get changed all that frequently, right?
Daily most of the
Yeah,
time, but
most of the
not
time,
all
yeah.
spaces.
I mean, stuff can start to stink pretty quick. And honestly, this is a food and beverage and kitchen use policy. This isn't really about consuming the food at the library, is it?
Not cleaning it.
Yeah. Well, cleaning up for sure.
It's also about not being disruptive too. So, if you are eating a really stinky fish sandwich and it's disrupting the person who's studying at the next table and there's nowhere else for them to go, would be one of the problem. Or there's no study rooms and kids order 6 pizzas and they push 2 study tables together.
So what I like to kind of adhere to, at least in my own home, right, is there's such thing as like a paper waste basket, and then you have a food waste basket. I don't know if that's something that would apply here necessarily, or if other libraries are doing it. You know, maybe we have a designated food bin.
It's outside the building.
Yeah. Yeah.
Take it with you.
And the
Like
friend, I know. Yeah, I think it's a lot to ask people to go out the building to pick up trash, though. Don't disagree with that, certainly, but some people do.
Is there a trash can in the friend's corner?
There's a small black one by the door. I mean, we could like order a metal one with a foot top that covers. But, you know, it's not that, but
So I feel like just the nature of it being like the friend's cafe corner.
If we're telling them to go eat, you're gonna see.
Yeah.
There's food there and.
That would be the
probably
place to
trash
display
brings
it,
up the
so.
for that.
we can move one of the bigger ones.
I was gonna say,
Yeah,
Do we have an extra? Seemed like we had an extra one.
right.
Yeah, we put an extra one in the tea room that
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I don't know
'cause that's
necessarily
another
needed.
place where it's a,
It'd be nice to have a designated food trash thing. Maybe definitely in the Friends Cafe, but maybe also elsewhere in the library. That way you don't just have like, how many waste baskets are we talking about? Are they
there's quite a few.
quite a few on every floor?
oh, yeah. Yeah.
How's it been going so far? That should be the real question, because we've been here a year.
Right.
almost, too.
I think it's a little bit of a problem in the teen room, but that's more like this general mess. Or we provide recycling, but nobody's dumping their extra slushy in the sink and rinsing out their plastic container and throwing it in recycling. Like everything's kind of looking trash, which then it can be wet and messy. I personally don't use the staff room a lot to eat. So if I get takeout from Cancun, then I eat it in my office, then I carry it out on my way out and throw it outside. Because I don't want to.
We've had a couple small issues with like the study rooms, like somebody has a sandwich from Bushel Unpack and throws their trash in there, it has like onions or something, and sits there and it doesn't get cleaned out the next day.
Point.
That would be my only thing, that's the only thing I've noticed.
That seems like you could put a sign or something on the trash can, like.
Yeah.
Dispose of your trash, food waste somewhere,
Yeah,
at least in some other place, right? Because then at least it can
yeah. you throw food
dissipate
waste.
more, but in the closed study rooms.
Yeah, so I don't know if we have to write it in the policy. I think, and Kristen, right? Kristen,
Yeah, Kristen Barker.
she's very good. Because she would say, oh, you can take care of that with a sign or something, because, yeah.
We wish.
Right, the libraries are full of signs, and a lot of people just need to be reminded, and even if they don't read the sign, that's great, but.
Yeah. We also, so we don't have garbage disposals. Like that was something that I wished for when I did the building program, but you really can't do it in commercial buildings, in part because you need that space for a chair to roll up to the sink. So you can't have a disposal under the sink. And we're not eligible for the composting program that's rolling out. It's only for residents. So at some point they may include businesses and municipal buildings, but like that's not an option either. Can you compost pizza?
Yeah,
Should be able to.
change that, and say something like,
Actually, cheese doesn't compost.
No.
What are the right conditions? Post even cheese.
Because ideally, if we were having groups come in and like rental space, they would use compostable utensils and plates, and then everything could get composted.
right now it says onto trash from messy greasy odors food must be disposed of outside and exterior trash cans, trash rails are dumped there, That in front corner.
I don't want to be so firm. Pressure materials, because like that could really be anything, like you said, onions, like.
Yeah.
Super vegetable, you know, it's just, you know, it doesn't have to be fast food. It could be anything.
Oh, no, it says we have to. Yeah, throw it away. So, that's for clarification. Now, or,
Really nice reminder. I want to say must be disposed of.
Maybe please be considerate and dispose of. I mean, we're not gonna go chasing after people who threw the onions away the last time you're in that meeting room and
Yeah.
stunk up the whole room. I don't know how much of we can actually enforce.
Right.
And like, yeah, because it only becomes a problem.
Yeah.
I think it's just a common courtesy things, like, and people just sometimes don't realize what they're doing. So if you just say like,
Right.
hey, next time just put your food, trash, and, you know, at least in the friend's corner, if not there, outside. I'm sure most
Yeah.
people would be fine with that. But, and we also do have two, he says, hot, messy, greasy, nourish foods such as pizza, burgers, fries, sandwiches, salads, and fast food are limited to the presence corner. So that is there.
There's also like no enforcing it, but like we're not keeping it in the meeting rooms.
Yeah.
People are doing, and then like I said, I got smelly messy food and ate it in my office. So,
well,
Right.
we made a point too before, I think it was before Christmas when we closed, when I had come up for something and I said, if you're eating something that's smelly, you need to take your trash with you when you go, because otherwise it's going to sit, or maybe it was New Year's, it's going
Yeah,
to sit for
for
3
days.
days before Paul comes back, and no one's gonna want that.
Yeah.
You know, it's not something people generally think about, but I don't know how you wanna word it or leave it in, or, but right now it says that they have to take it outside. And somebody's gonna read it and be like, they didn't take it. So it's my only concern.
Wait, you could say, any food waste that's, you know, organic food waste, right? Because like, anything inorganic would just be paper, utensils, stuff, you know, I think, yeah.
You have people that are gonna be like,
um,
I know I'm
Yeah.
being honest,
Yeah,
like
you're
that's,
right.
I'm like, this
Yeah.
isn't organic oatmeal I brought into the library, so I can throw it in this trash can.
Yeah. I can throw my inorganic tomatoes in the trash.
I roll over.
Specifically bought the non-organic one. I mean, I guess Beth, maybe this is a question for you, Beth, like, is the language as is it okay it being a little strict and maybe it being just enforced less strictly? But then, you know, if there is an incident, you do have the policy to rely on to say, look, you know, we do have this policy, we don't want to really enforce it, but, you know, if you keep eating meatball subs in, you know, the historic reading room, then we're gonna have to like kind of enforce it and tell you to go to the friend's corner.
I think, I don't want to speak for the staff, but I think staff preference is more black and white and less interpretation for them.
You just change D to say like hot, messy, greasy, or just blah, blah, blah. They're limited to the friend's corner
And
and
just
trash.
take out F completely. Well, they're eating,
See if they're eating it up there and saying, and something, add something to D about disposing of trash in the friend's corner.
Oh, I'm sorry, mine are off.
Oh.
Policy. I need to pull it.
Are you on, yeah, you're on the old one or am I on the old one?
No, you got the new one, you probably just pulled it.
Okay. Yes, yeah.
And also that.
I just want to see what we talked about the last. Um, yeah, I had to say, take it out. Or better yet, advise on how people should dispose of, how we would like people to dispose of, you know, food waste. Right? You can call it food waste, I have to call it.
Yeah, I mean, food waste is fine.
all kinds of things that are not fast food effective. Messy.
We say food waste must be disposed of in appropriate containers, and then they can ask for it to throw it away, and you can either say take it outside or in that barrel with the sign on it. Open-ended.
Well, you said must be, right? It's
Yeah.
not that open-ended. If you want it to be more black and white, you can say yes, you do this. Yeah, and I'd like to say food waste should be, disposed of in a fenced corner or taken outside.
Mhm. That's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, most people aren't gonna read this policy, so it'll just be up to the staff to know it and to say, oh, someone asks them like, you can take that in the front corner, or you should be eating that in the front corner. Or if you want to take it with you, then great.
How do you get enforced people use things in the fence corner, but I'd rather see the trash if it's way out the door or all throughout the library. I mean, it's accessible for the tea room, right? Because most people use that back door, just throw their stuff out in the bin.
But not enough to take the trash with them.
Yeah. Or, in the fence corner. Great. Anything else anybody wants to bring up?
Did I forward the message from the Board of Health? Person? Did I imagine that I did respond to it? Because she had some feedback about like the permitting.
If you did, I haven't. What was it?
It was a while ago.
Like February.
Yeah. I sent it out February 13th. FYI, think we should include some language that we are not liable for any food-related injury or accident on site. We'll check with legal. Seems unsafe for a large private event. Be exempting the need for someone on site with allergy awareness, CPR, AED use, anti-choking, crowd control, all the things that we have to do to have food at our programs. And then Nancy Connors, the office manager in the health department, went through the policy and gave me a draft with questions and changes. So we can look at it again for next time.
I thought we had something like that in there about not being liable for food related injury.
Weird.
February 13th.
Research Nancy Connors, COO.
Question about food permits.
Maybe I sent it to the wrong. Nope, I sent it to the right one. Sometimes I send things to my nephew. Homework
Is that why my
reminders.
son's getting all those library meetings?
There it is.
Aaron's work is to get homework
Still in
reminders
goals.
for my nephew. Oh, okay. Cool.
Like, does the meeting room policy
It's a
have
forward.
some
So-
things about this?
I want to say the meeting room policy says that they have to have all these trainings
Right.
because we're allowed to say that as a group. So I put them in
Mhm.
for safety. But then what happens is somebody rents the facility and they go to fill out their health permit and Board of Health says, oh, don't worry about it. You don't need any of that. It's fine. So I said, Nancy, well, can we like supersede because we don't, like, I don't feel comfortable being like, go ahead and have your meeting and well, too bad if somebody it has a peanut allergy and you don't know and you don't label it and they eat something with peanuts in it and then something. Anaphylactic shock incident. So worst case scenario. But and some of it might be that I had to go through a lot of hoops because I was not using local vendors. Where it's like she knows if they're getting pizza from Pepperoni Express that he's certified and up to date and knows what they're doing and has a gluten-free option. That kind of thing. It sort of depends on with the health department, it seems like how complicated it is, but I feel like if the staff had to go through all this training to do programming, food, like why is a
Yeah.
private event that might be for 100 people and have similar complications with them?
Does someone need to be on site from allergy
Yeah,
allergy awareness or
Or
like,
set it up.
or oversee it?
yeah, oversee it.
Okay. Because having somebody on site would be, it's a peanut allergy, so we're always like,
Mhm.
all the time.
Yeah.
Involved in all of
So I
that.
think-
Overseeing it because catering delivers and they set it up and it's labeled and they
Yeah.
walk away.
I think you're looking at the wrong email. actually.
Well,
So there's one on March 1st, it says draft food and beverage policy from Nancy Connors. And she actually marked up the copy for it.
okay.
Oh,
And it's the other thing is to skim this and let me know if there's anything else we should address. That's what you said on February 14th.
oh, my goodness.
Oh, yeah, I'm not finding that.
Yeah, no.
That I wrote?
Yeah,
Okay.
you forwarded it. Me, John, and Debbie on March
Okay,
1st.
I see it.
Yeah.
So I did not then go in and edit the document though. Somebody else should. So I can pull that up then.
So
So I would agree that we should say that we're not liable. I mean, if someone wants to have an event, we can direct them to the Board of Health for permits or whatever, but then that doesn't mean that any liability would fall on us or the town. It should still be up to them to take whatever precautions would be needed for whoever has allergies in their group, because I mean, we just can't be responsible for whoever they're inviting, guest list,
Mhm.
Where they're getting food from, all of that stuff. It's just not feasible, right? So I think it should be said explicitly somewhere that it's like, it's not, for lack of a better term, it's not our problem. And we can put an emphasis on the things that we think would help keep people safe. Reminders about
Mhm.
allergies, TPR training, choking, prevention, things like that. But unfortunately, it's just kind of like the library can't be responsible for monitoring these events, especially if the library's not even open. You're having an event
Yeah.
on a Sunday or something. In terms of like, if we were going to do something like that, then we'd have to charge for it, and then the cost goes up, and so I think it's fine that we put the onus on them, and maybe we just, again, like if there's some sort of packet we hand to people when they book a large event or something like that, especially if the library's not open, being like, we strongly recommend you get these trainings, or at least check with whoever's attending for allergies, and or review what food options you have, something like that.
summarize. Said a lot.
So, right. So I think I was saying that, so
What are you speaking to?
So the thing, actually sort of the other email about, I guess, just general liability, right? And then Beth mentioned how we were saying that I think permits were required or something like that, but then the Board of Health didn't seem that that concerned about needing those things or whatever. So I think it would just really be that we should have some language saying that you're kind of doing this at your own risk, right? Like if you're serving food, you are fully responsible for making sure that your guests don't have allergies, that they don't choke, or that they do choke, that you're able to help them or whatever it is, right? And so, the library can maybe provide some documents about those things, like we recommend you get these things, but it's not our responsibility. Because it's just not feasible for the library to be responsible for those things. And it's not necessarily, I'll just say it goes the other way too, where it's like, if you just want to have like a party, yes, you should take precautions and make sure people have allergies and things like that. But sometimes if it's just some small gathering or something, it's not necessarily feasible that you go get choking training or CPR or whatever else, right? Just to like hang out with some family friends or something. I don't know.
I think that it's a little different having a private party than in a public space, but I guess if you have a private group, you should know when you can use it. It's your responsibility.
So there's also, we have this commercial kitchen that got approved by Board of Health. So in theory, people who are going to use it should also know, like, that they have to follow sanitation procedure, and
Did you say commercial kitchen?
it's a commercial grade kitchen. Yeah, it's a commercial grade stove that is not easy to use. It's a dishwasher with like a 60-second sanitizing cycle. Yeah. To wash Legos, yeah.
Okay.
So what were you saying about that? Do you add that? Is that already in there?
So I mean, that's another question, like, if you're gonna be, again, like, if you're gonna be cooking and serving food, even at a party. I don't know, I just feel like it's one thing not to deliver it, and it's another to be like, I'm making beef stew for 60 people. Or pancake breakfast.
Yeah. We go through with the Board of Health. Levy. The library's food permit does not cover the
Yeah, it's just look up the word convene. So a convened meeting is an outside person who's not a staff member booking the meeting. So they are the meeting room convener and in charge of the program or party or event. That they're having.
Okay.
As opposed to a library
So
program.
you would say.
Yeah.
They need to go.
Well, that's the whole thing. She's saying, no, they don't, not necessarily.
Right.
Yeah.
Um,
So I mean, I could say the library's food permit only covers library programs.
Small system is most important.
Yeah.
Help that is.
So I can must comply with state code.
We need to have that at all.
Well, it says they enforce state code,
Yeah.
so
So maybe we need the word local.
Where?
Board of Health.
Third paragraph.
I lost you two taking notes a minute. Okay, so it's sitting there go, oh, what, wait, you're right, that's down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I have this which shows up. Yeah, so I don't see the highlighting. I don't see it right here.
This is the notes.
Oh, it's a Google Doc.
Wait, are we all making code?
No, it's a doc.
It's a Word document, but it's through Gmail, so. it's
Okay.
the- Yeah, maybe just use the word local. Remind the Board of Health does not inspect or license private events. So, what about that? We said private events. The Board of Health does not inspect or license private events.
They permit though. They permit. When they say that you need it. So what I'm doing is any year can check in with the Board of Health will determine, do you need a 1-day food permit or not? Yeah, it's not us saying that they have to have a Board of Health.
You don't have to show us anything.
Only if they're required to have the permit. They can just say the Board of Health. said
Theory.
no.
I'll tell them for day check in the morning. I think they're probably.
Or it's- yeah.
Yeah. I don't think the library will have
Hmm.
a sheet form. If somebody's lied to you and said, oh yeah, the board
Yeah.
says it's okay, and then something happened, then you go check it, and they'd say, you said no. So, the library does not inspect. Your, your, food, food permit. And I think the food permit, stuff like that. I was temporary help calling, so she had a call for temporary help.
Yeah.
Uh,
We're just
Background
waiting for,
checks.
yeah, forms to come back so we can be trained.
Surprised it worked out so well. And then I'm using the-
Yes. Local talent.
We have sanitizing wipes available.
We do.
I think it's somewhere we said that we did. Yeah, for wiping down the tables.
Yeah.
That's what we said.
They're available at every desk.
So you probably be right on 1B. Yeah. Okay, just be disposed of. Throughout the library.
So can we just take the food waste should be disposed of in receptacles in the front corner or outside, which is what we use. What?
I think this one is more just talking about where your stuff away. All trash. Yeah, just leave it on the table. Maybe the line about, place carry your food.
Does it get its own letter? Okay, you sent me bullet points the wrong way.
Yeah.
So, and I'm assuming there must be a chart or something available from Board of Health or Public Works that says what you can recycle. I think that's what he's referring to.
Is the library use E.L. Harvey
Yeah.
recycling?
Yeah.
They have
It's all
something.
single stream.
Yeah, I don't think it would be Board of Health. It's whoever
Okay.
recycler is. Sure.
So we have to talk about.
Recycling, to see the recycling materials, she put in this page, she said recycling must follow all guidelines. Recycling materials must follow all local guidelines, not place 30. Approved covered recyclables into recycling bins. And then there's a question, do you want to photocopy this guideline basically? Put it on your bins? Yeah. And presumably somebody in town has access to it.
You need that.
Oh, look at that, that's lovely.
Oh, cool. Great. Will we put it recycling into its own line?
Yeah.
Good. Maybe ask to take the trash review of the other stuff, any receptacles outside for them to put trash in, and just don't throw on the ground.
Hopefully they understand what's outside.
Yeah, but this isn't,
It doesn't say.
yeah, this doesn't say throw it outside anyways, this just says maybe he has to take it with you. Okay. good. I'm kind of. nervous to be part of that decision. How other libraries use their kitchens? Do you have any examples?
What libraries have kitchens? Not very many. You
Yeah.
have to reach out.
Well, they have food prep areas,
Yeah.
right? Because they have a modern library.
Mhm.
It's just a food prep area.
Mhm. I thought they had like because it's like against the wall in the meeting room, and then there's an island, right? Is that what you're saying?
Well, the only room I really know is the conference room where we have MLPA. And,
Okay.
so. I know the patrons who wanted to speak. So what is it?
Really for tutored event or library program.
You want to be specific.
Yeah, it's for groups convening a meeting during a meal, groups intending to serve refreshments as part of a program or meeting, and library staff presenting or contracting a library program.
Two groups do.
Again, I get like you could decide that you're gonna have Thanksgiving at the library and rent the space and pay the facility fee and put on a turkey dinner for 100 of your closest friends and family. Invite me, please. I'd like to come.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, like,
Yeah.
like scouting,
So much easier.
yeah, scouting groups
Right.
who
Yeah, you
want
can
a
do a
different
banquet.
type of you know, teaching events, not banquets, but teaching events for cooking.
Yeah.
They do a lot of outdoor cooking demonstrations, like
Right.
kettle cooking,
The cast iron stuff.
cast iron stuff,
Yeah.
cast iron
Dutch
stuff
oven.
and stuff. But I don't know if we do anything, with functional kitchen.
So, and if they were doing it as part of a regular meeting, like a Tuesday night meeting, and you have the bread guy come in and teach you how to make muffins, that would be
They were
like an
They
appropriate.
were actually looking for, to help bring down roles for the 107 for again,
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, but like that would be like a Tuesday night, the library's open, and technically, for the meeting policy, any member of the public can go into that meeting. So it's not a private closed members of the meeting. So that's sort of where the like who's responsible for the food permit or the programming.
I don't want to be so strict that
No.
people don't use it
Yeah.
either.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out.
I think if it's actually a community kitchen where somebody can be like, hey, my stove is broken and I have people coming for dinner and I just want to come in, or I run a company where I make cheese boards for people and I'm going to come in and use your commercial kitchen to set up my cheese boards. So you need all the for the health requirements, the facility space.
Yeah.
Like that's not really something. And I think there's other regulations that you need to follow if you're going to be back at a community kitchen. So while we've called it a community kitchen, there is actually an official community kitchen regulated thing, which is not what we're set up.
Yeah, I mean, I think you said it, I think you basically said it already. It's for events. You know, like it's, if you're renting the room and you have a caterer coming in that knows how to use the equipment, like, I think that's what it's intended for. And and like, I mean, as a scout leader, it'd be great to use it to demonstrate things, but at the same time, it being a commercial kitchen, I wouldn't know what to do, with that. And so,
I guess turn on the stove so we can cook.
A long
The
time.
heater.
It was
Yeah.
like not working,
okay.
right, it was
Yeah.
weird.
So I mean, I trust that you know how to use a normal stove.
Yeah.
And so if you can figure it out, then I probably wouldn't be able to figure it out. And but then I mean, I think maybe the one exception would be like the bread guy who he actually runs his
Right.
store now, so he does know how to use that level of equipment. But I feel like that's kind of more the exception than the rule. So I would say let's leave it kind of more restricted to the catered events and things like that.
Yeah.
Or I mean, if, because in theory, again, per like the regulations and stuff, even if you're using the microwave to heat things up, you're supposed to clean it in a certain way and all that stuff. So
So I
I don't know.
I like this, about all the permutations. B kind of, is the part that really, this is, for B, is the one part that I'm like, okay, well, we want to invite you to use it, but I think, going to use it for like personal use is not what it's intended for. If you were to go and get the meal, it would really be intended for some sort of. I mean, your family of four. Right?
So we had a homeschool group who came in because they had no heat. And we gave them a community room. And I told it was an exception, I put out a hot water boiler and some cocoa, like leftover cocoa that I had from an event.
It's still cold in there.
It was cold in there still, yeah. Even our heat was no. Their house was colder than ours was. So then they came in like a week later and they wanted to book the room and use the kitchen to make several different meals for their homeschool group. And I'm like, no, that's weird. No. Yeah.
Everything's in private. Private. Or do that. Right?
Yeah,
Say
I mean,
you
you could
can-
rent it after hours if you wanted to do that, but that's really not. Bring a brown bag lunch and again, it's like a catering kitchen. It's not for you to teach as part of your homeschool curriculum to your private group of homeschool students who are paying you how to make lunch. They were unhappy.
And that's why we need a policy to approach it.
Do you need anything, like, I'm not necessarily in a policy, but I'm wondering from an admin point of view, do we need something on the door that says taking use is restricted, or since staying on the room and just went in and we're like, hey, look, there's a really cool kitchen.
So when you
Not
book
realizing.
the room, you have the ability to check off kitchen. And then in theory, whoever's approving the room can follow up.
And
They
you're
like
like,
to
oh,
know the kitchen for. You need training, kind of like you need AV, you need training. You need that kind of stuff.
I just don't think we have anything on there right now, so that if anybody had. But I mean, if you have like a group that's coming in to set up, I don't know, like a breakfast, something or other, and they put, while they're waiting, they put cream cheese or milk or whatever in the refrigerator. I don't know, with that, are we?
I mean, I'd almost say something on the door would be nice, but then also one of those little like L-shaped, clear, what are they called? Like Lexan,
Yeah.
things where you put the paper in it, like on a little stand, and you just put that on the stove and it's like, because people are gonna go, like you said about signs, like people are just gonna open the door and go inside and then
Yeah.
try and use the stove. But if there's like a thing on the burner,
Yeah,
where it's
Yeah.
like,
gotta move it out of the
you
way.
shouldn't be using this,
Mhm.
unless you know what you're doing, then I think that might be a good idea too.
I like you should write all the signs. All of this would be what it would be.
If you ask, you have to ask them.
If only he was here, that day. We're trying to figure out how to use the stove. George is here, Mayor George, can you, like, we're trying it, it's not working, it's not coming out. You got it, okay.
We're at 8:30. We can spend some more time on this if we want. Or we can bring this back.
I think the last thing is just the safe certified thing. Under 5, that's like the last big thing. I don't know what that is or how involved that certification is.
Serve Safe Certified Food Manager is like $160. And it's 2 full days. I think it's 2 full sections of classroom training, and then the exam you have to pass with a 70 or better, or 80 or better.
Do we have anyone who's certified?
Mine has lapsed. I might have a couple people in the children's room who did it successfully during the pandemic, but probably close to expiring.
So, I mean,
I would be willing to do it. Like, we should have somebody certified for life.
yeah, I was gonna say, because like otherwise we can't. Really
That'd be training, so now.
Yeah, we've all got you.
Well, most
Allergen
of it.
awareness is easy, and I think it's usually like half price. Food handler is $40, and you can work under a certified food. So technically, like if we wanted to make Kool-Aid or lemonade in a program, you need to have a food handler license to stir the Kool-Aid together.
So crowd manager, I know we thought that was an important addition last time we discussed this. You want to continue on within there? Then I don't know that it fits. Talking
Yeah.
about food preparation.
No.
Or you'll send us, amended copies. And, we'll be prepared to, make your final draft changes, or do you want to send it to legal now?
I think it needs to be pretty final and go to legal. Or we could send it to staff and then either way.
Sure, I'm hoping this is not be that.
Okay.
If we're ready for that.
Okay.
Further discussion. Kitchen policy. It's different things. Different places. Okay.
So this is saying that everybody would need to have that high level training. And that's not what I'm hearing from Board of Health.
Oh, so you don't need
Yeah.
that training.
Well, staff do, because that's what our food permit says,
Sorry, but
but the B and C do not. We would just say we recommend, as opposed to is allowed, you know. Yeah.
so this is where I'd say, let's take that information and put it into whatever information we give to these,
Oh.
give to the patrons who book the room for private use and want to use the kitchen, right? So
Okay.
then saying, we recommend you have these certifications or your caterer does, right? Whoever's working in the kitchen. Yeah. And,
And if we are not.
Did you want to have this section?
Section 5.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as the library staff know that. The programming. And,
Yeah, I think we haven't seen food in quite a while, but there was a community reads coming up.
Yeah, we haven't had to do it because
Yeah.
we weren't certified. There's nobody doing it, but none of this.
So,
Just never-
so what do you think that she says, Beth, see the PDF I attached?
Probably so.
And we should force that we should have this section, or it's really.
There is no PDF attached, so I don't. I don't know, it's like that. I can follow up though. And ask.
Yeah, I mean, see if, see if the Board of Health really wants us to keep this in here or not, in the sense that we do that.
Okay. People can also just call every book and then they're exempt. think, so. Yes, there's a,
What?
yes, potluck is allowed under chapter 230 of the Acts of 2014 Act relative to
I
potluck
think that's
events,
why we had a potluck Thanksgiving at work.
which basically says you know that it's
No, it's
either
prepared
your
by
own
someone
risk,
else,
you know, it's
yeah.
prepared by somebody else, you know that they may not
In
have
their
training, they might have pets, they might not have washed their hands
My
before they cooked.
coworker, is like, I don't want anything to do with that.
Yep.
Because he used to be a cop and during in the academy during COVID, it was called the COVID class, and people would just be the police officers all the time, and you just call the COVID capping, there's no thank you. I don't know where that came from.
Mm,
Yeah,
That was funny.
yeah.
Made some cookies one time for the neighbor. We're like, we wore masks and gloves. Well, we didn't.
Yeah.
She was like, we don't care. I'm like, well, I'm just letting you know. We just wanted to- Yeah, germs.
So
Is that the
36, so we need business. Okay. So next is discuss policy at the next meeting. I think we will, I think we said we're gonna take some time to look at this thing, right, this is the new policy, we wanna, we're gonna do new. We have a list. that
Good.
other things that we need, renewed. Plans in a while.
Mhm.
I feel like it's good to have policies that just need to be reviewed by the board, especially seeing that we have two board seats opening up. It's good to educate trustees. By reviewing.
Their material selection policy and procedure because of the raft of the family. Like the request for reconsideration is strong and that procedure piece is good. But I think looking at the general language of the 2021, June 2020. Yeah.
Here's my
Oh,
policy.
yeah. So parking policy. Yeah, we don't have anything to do. Yeah, so we have a list that I had on the Google Drive.
Oh, yeah.
Now I've got that to me. So there's a lot of things that are pretty.
I mean, worst comes to worst, if we review one of these old ones that we don't think needs to be reviewed, then at least we can review it and put a new date stamp on it, you know?
I think what was a good exercise for us was to look at a policy that was written, you know, either at the
Yeah.
this library,
Yeah.
for the renovation,
For the old one,
or
the temporary.
temporary one.
Mhm.
Because we found it a lot.
Yeah.
Parking policy.
No, I think there's new policies though that we've never developed that we need, like a volunteer policy, a program policy, because sometimes we get some challenges from people who, like, we've got it sort of as a draft, like internal policy or procedure, and we need to register if it says registration, that we adhere to age guidelines very strictly. But if you're like 10 minutes late for an hour program, you can't
Yeah.
come in, it's disruptive.
Yeah, that happened.
So there's a lot of,
And it was like last month or the month before
yeah.
that came up.
There's not an official like board of trustees policy about library programming. We might also consider kind of in line with, you should, yeah. Yeah.
It even makes sense to have policy. Because some of the libraries are.
Mars is officially fine, so that's not their policy, it's just, you know.
I said at a legislative breakfast that Massachusetts has the most.
You could consider a display policy, which is just like library staff putting together materials displays as opposed to a patron coming in and wanting to put a display in the cabinet. Because it's sort of in line with collection materials being challenged. Why do you have to display? Let me put up this display instead. I don't want my child to see that content in the adult space on display. So I don't even know if that's on the list. Like I didn't even. We still have no donation policy. We still have not had a meeting with the Friends to determine who owns things that are donated for Friends book sale. Like if the library own it and get first pick into the collection and give it to the Friends to sell, or do the Friends own it and give it to the library to put into the collection? That's not just never been established. Capital campaign also like if we can't accept donations really of artwork, there's not a lot of places to hang. You don't want somebody to die and leave their car or their building or their book. So actually, I attended a workshop about donations in general, about the books being donated. And I somewhere I have a draft. Only if it comes with the driver and the benefits to pay that driver and maintenance for the bookmobile. No, I did.
I drive the bus.
Like the night bus, but here.
Well, do you,
Zombie
how ice
bookmobile.
cream. Books and ice cream.
No, I want to book a trike actually to go to like Silver Lake. That'd be cool.
do you want to pick Sean?
Call them a bike, a pedal cab is
Yeah.
the proper
Or
one.
they had the motorized ones too. Whatever those are called, but. Yeah.
I did pass by the same company the other day, didn't we? I still have it on my to-do list, but I'm pretty sure we did. I think that can get moved up.
Since I've been here.
11, 16.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, look at it. Small victories.
Why don't, would it make sense to set a kind of like a cadence of like review 2 existing policies and work on a new one? And then, you know, so whatever you feel like you need to select from that list based on age and
Okay.
other relevant factors that the collections related policies are a hot topic right now. So maybe if there's a missing policy related to that, we can work on that. And then if there's any related to
like
that,
this
need to
one.
be, yeah, the display
Down
one.
here.
Yeah. Does that make sense? Yeah.
I didn't say one new, one old. Whatever you think of right now, one
whatever,
one.
yeah.
Yeah, so we need a display policy and we need to update the materials. And they kind of,
So when the librarians put out their own display of like these recommended books of the month or whatever that is, or you know, this was in the new.
Policy. Right.
yeah, we say that we're not like endorsing anything. And we're not going to take it down
Policy's
because you
written,
personally
yeah.
do not like it.
It's very-
That's basically what the one I did.
You said it again.
Yeah.
I'm on the-
Library displays fairly reflective library. I have a draft. I already have a draft. I have a draft already. I just haven't set it out.
After, um, probably one more policy.
It's in order. I mean, I get a. Why not?
Yeah, and if we don't address all of them every week, I think we could just have it. This is what we're gonna do.
months. So.
Actually, we-
Yeah.
No. This has been more fun in person, I'm just saying, but like not every week.
So I was fine for library maybe, because I thought we were supposed to go back to select board to say it has it tell us how this is affected the town coffers and not be collecting and turning it into money.
So, Peter Carlson said that it's really under the library trustees purview whether they want to collect fees or not. So whether they endorse it or not, it didn't matter.
Oh, okay. Well, then let's just
I think
vote it thoroughly.
it's better. Yeah, how are you gonna go back from that? Your fees again. Bring your pocket change. I owe 10 cents to some other library because the book came in and then I kept it too long and I was like, oops, and I don't even, how do we get like the 50
You pay
cents?
it here. If it's under a certain amount, you pay it here. and it gets
Transfer
off
it
your
and-
card. We don't send them any money though.
We have a ball.
It was like $8,000 a year, but then it kind of got less and less because one of the things that CW Mars as a network did was offer automatic renewal. So now if no one was waiting for your book, you could just got an automatic 3-week extension and had extra time for you to watch the movie. Or whatever.
That's,
We've forgotten, not forgotten, we've lost them.
Mhm.
And we just had to pay for them. And,
Yep.
You know, that's the policy.
I think our dog ate one.
Yeah.
Just used to color and everything. Not a lot of books.
So we're at 8:47.
Okay.
Just saying the room will close soon. This is not-
Oh, we're over time actually. We picked out at 8:45 per the meeting. I'm surprised no one's coming. Oh, wait, I'm the manager in charge. That's why no one's coming out coming to.
You're already here.
Okay, so I will, there's nothing else. Any public input here?
Nobody waiting to get in.
Okay, our next meeting, so. This is our March meeting, but understanding, this is my, I don't think we should. Before.
yeah, no.
We meet May 3rd, that would be like the first Wednesday in May.
Wednesday. Check the calendar.
Are we trying to meet again with emergency or no?
We approved a lot of policies, at the last meeting, so I don't think they're expecting very much from policy committee to be presented.
I don't know that I've got the newly approved policies up on it.
Maybe
I haven't.
April looks great. It's baseball season and Mondays are going to be our practice day and we have games, so.
Okay.
We'll vote for that, consider that calendar. Coaching.
We're looking to get a presenter in because we love coaching kids sports. Maybe so. I know the season has started.
I have lots of resources. So if she wants to, I love baseball. I would. Okay, so I agree, May will be fine for the next meeting. Do I have a motion to adjourn? And second. Okay, all in favor?
Hi.
Say aye, here we go. All at once.